Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to have the latest from the UKV, have the precipitation and the temperature over the next 5 days as we can just about get towards Christmas Eve now, and it does look like we are going to see some very changeable conditions over the coming days, much colder through Thursday, Friday and into the weekend before it does turn milder again into early next week. And in time for Christmas it is looking actually very mild with a west to southwesterly wind. It does look like high pressure will be in control, so hopefully it will be dry, but we are going to have a really seasonal feel the coming days. But by the time we see actual Christmas Day, Boxing Day, it does look like it will feel fairly autumnal, if I'm being completely honest, with these west to southwesterly winds. We'll then have a look at the longer range, looking at the latest GFS, ECMWF and the ensembles, as it does look like we'll slowly see that westerly flow diminish away post-Christmas. And then as we head towards New Year, we are seeing some bizarre charts for the start of 2025. Very weird northern hemispheric synoptic patterns. Don't really know what to make of it, if I'm being completely honest. We're seeing really weird areas of high pressure building, big areas of lower pressure towards Scandinavia. Definitely could set up something colder, but to be honest, we'd have to just give it another few days, because it looks really wild, and you'll be able to see what I mean when we look at those charts in the second half of the video. Something I've not seen at all this autumn or winter, these really weird positionings of high pressure, low pressure, and it could give some really wild outcomes across the northern hemisphere. But we'll explore that in the second half of the video. So do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you like and subscribe. And remember to follow me on Twitter as well, the link's in the description. And of course, still recording this on my phone, unfortunately. If you haven't heard already, my computer is broken, and hopefully I should have a replacement now come Friday. It seems like my computer isn't going to get fixed, so I'm going to have to buy a new one. Hopefully by Friday or Saturday at the latest, we should have a replacement. So fingers crossed, only another couple of days of this weird formatting. But yeah, we'll have to just make do for now. And if you start on the latest UKV, you can see we've got some heavy rain that is clearing through this evening. Been very miserable across much of England and Wales. And as we head into Thursday, it will be much colder, but it will be drier. We will see wintry showers pushing in from the north and west. But by the middle of the afternoon, plenty of sunshine. But as I said, it will be cold. Temperatures only 5 or 6 by the afternoon, and overnight temperatures will be dropping down towards freezing. Now, fortunately, as we head into Friday, a bit of cloud arrives, which will hold those temperatures up slightly, and we'll see a bit of rain through Friday afternoon. But for most, it's still chilly, still kind of 7, 8, 9 degrees, and we're oscillating between colder and slightly milder sectors, but generally on the colder end of average. Into Saturday, we see a bit of rain moving through for the morning, but nothing too severe. And then to Saturday afternoon, Sunday, we see some really heavy blustery showers coming in from the north and west. Given the strength of these showers, how cold the upper air temperatures are, a lot of evaporative cooling taking place here. So you can see a lot of heavy snow falling inland. Again, don't want to hype it up. We're not going to see anything major. The temperatures will still be well above freezing at the surface. But what it does show is how heavy it will be and the power of evaporative cooling, where we temporarily see the freezing level drop as we see heavy precipitation moving in. So that's one to watch. Saturday through to Sunday could be some quite heavy falling snow in places, especially in the north and the west, but not exclusively. Could be a bit more widespread. So do watch out for that. Again, we're not expecting significant accumulations, but you see some really dark pinks there, which indicates some really quite heavy falling snow. And then it slowly clears through Sunday, being a bit drier. And then into Monday, dry morning before rain arrives through the afternoon, as we do see the westerly flow return. And this looks like it's going to be setting the stage for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, where we start to see that westerly flow completely dominates. Now, if you have a look at the max temperatures, you can see today 10 to 12 degrees in the south, but as we head into Thursday, much colder during the day, only, as I said, 4 to 6 degrees, if not getting much above freezing in the north. As we head into Friday, another chilly day, but slightly milder, 7, 8, maybe 9 at best. And then slowly into Saturday, 10 to 12 by the afternoon in the southeast, but it's a temporary milder sector, because by Saturday evening into Sunday, it's much colder. And for Sunday, again, only 4 or 5 degrees. And then into Monday, once again, very chilly, only 4 or 5 degrees, but you can see the milder sector slowly moving in from the west. So again, not lasting all too long. So some really quite chilly days coming up in towards the end of this week into the start of next week. But in time for Christmas, it is all going to change, and we are going to see milder air masses pushing back in. So if you do favour those drier conditions, no frost, no snow, anything like that over Christmas, then definitely it is looking like a good year for travelling with that high pressure building in. Now, if you start for the longer range now by looking at the latest GFS, you can see the westerly flow, northwesterly flow coming in the next couple of days, but eventually high pressure builds in for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, and it looks a fairly dry and hopefully fairly sunny Christmas period, but difficult to say this time of year. There is the risk, of course, of seeing an inversion where temperatures could actually be pretty cold at times, but still dry. And there is the risk that we also see some thick cloud getting trapped underneath it. It's something we'll have to wait for the UKV to show. We've considered both of those sort of high pressure systems so far through the autumn and early winter. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. It'll all depend on exact dew points, exact wind directions, all which could still subtly change as it is still 7, 8, 9 days away. Beyond that, the high pressure eventually gets pushed away, and by New Year's, these are the crazy synoptics we're looking at. A massive area of high pressure is built in for northeast Canada up towards Greenland, and you'd expect this is trying to turn us very cold, but actually we're seeing a southerly wind with a massive European high. Normally, we don't see these coupled up. Normally, the Greenland high, northeast Canadian high, pushes lower pressure into northern Europe, and we go much colder and much more unsettled. But here, we've got both high pressure systems coexisting, and eventually we see a northerly wind before it starts to topple at the end of the run. So a really fascinating synoptic pattern, both blocking area of high pressure towards Europe and towards northeast Canada and Greenland, not normally seeing those coexist, and it's because all of the low pressure is stuck here to the north of Scandinavia. It's a bit more spread out. We wouldn't see both these highs coexisting. So yeah, really interesting synoptics here. I don't know if these will actually come off and whether it's just the model seeing something really weird at the moment. But yeah, would be a very weird start to January, and some regions will be seeing some really weird surface conditions with this sort of pattern. So we'll have to wait and see, but we are seeing it from quite a few runs. So yeah, definitely some some reason for this, but we'll wait and see. Now, if you look at the GM, again, we've got that northwesterly flow coming in over the next couple of days. Eventually, the westerly winds do return by early next week with higher pressure, and it looks fairly dry and hopefully fairly sunny for Christmas, but again, very difficult to say. And then towards day 10, we're starting to see that high pressure build towards northeast Canada, starting to see low pressure towards northern Scandinavia, but not getting as far out as the GFS at this stage. And finally, if we compare to the latest ECMWF, again, northeasterly or northwesterly flow coming over the next couple of days, high pressure building in, turning much drier into next week. And eventually, we see that high pressure towards northeast Canada, maybe towards Greenland, but again, still a bit of European high pressure. And then right towards the end of the run, a really weird synoptic pattern, deep low pressure systems towards Scandinavia, Svalbard, but then it's not heading towards northern Europe like you would expect. A very weird, wacky synoptic pattern for the northern hemisphere here. We'll have to wait and see exactly how it does play out. But yeah, this is not the usual pattern we'd be seeing sort of midwinter. We normally see a much more coherent pattern, fluid pattern, whereas this looks like a really quite manufactured pattern. Don't normally end up with all the low pressure concentrated completely over Siberia and the North Pole, with all these weird little blocking highs just sitting around. It is possible, of course, we've seen patterns like this, but this is not the status quo. So it definitely shows that there's something is afoot to start 2025. We'll just have to wait and see. Now, if you finish by looking at the latest ensembles, chilly over the next kind of 5 days or so, very up and down, but mostly below average, and then average to above average for Christmas and for the following days. But then into the final couple of days of December into early January, precipitation increases and temperatures drop back towards average, if not below average. And that is because we are seeing those really weird synoptics to start 2025. So yes, milder upper air temperatures, higher pressure, building in for Christmas and for the days following Christmas. But into the start of 2025, it does look like things will be turning a little bit more interesting, and that is we'll really concentrate on as we head into next week. And finally, if we could just compare it to the ECM, you can see it is broadly very similar, up and down in the next few days, but mostly below average, above average for Christmas, and then to end December and start 2025, we are back towards average with a very large deviations between the runs. So to keep a very close eye on it over the coming days and coming weeks, but for the time being, pretty cold, pretty chilly, very changeable though over the next sort of 4 or 5 days, and then it becomes a bit more quiet and stable over Christmas with higher pressure building in, and then things could get a bit more wacky and interesting to end the year and start January 2025. So anyway, thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you again for another video soon.